Hello, what is up, YouTube world? I am Ashley D, and today is my Sabbath. I wasn't gonna do a video tonight, but I guess my son felt the spirit moving him, and it was necessary for me to do one. So, today I'm going to be discussing trauma bonding and breaking generational curses, something that a lot of people suffer from. Self-esteem issues and self-love. Self-love is one of the most beautifulest things you can do for yourself and have for yourself. When you have self-love, you have high self-esteem, you have higher standards, and you have higher hope for who you are, your future, your plans, everything. When you have low self-esteem, you settle for any and everything. You use validation from friends, people, job, anything that you feel necessary that makes you feel good about you, that you feel makes you whole. That's trauma bonding. You bonding with someone and you have trauma. Or it could even be two people bonding together that's been in trauma. Do I think anything wrong with a couple that's together that's both had a bad childhood or had trauma in their life? No, I don't see anything wrong with it. Yes, I think they could have a healthy relationship. Do I think they both need to seek counseling and therapy first? Absolutely. Absolutely. You cannot heal each other if you don't know how to deal with those issues and having coping mechanisms. For example, a lot of these problems and things start from people's childhoods. A lot of parents, and so on, they never received love. They never received encouragement or a hug. So they don't know how to give that to their child. A lot of people come from broken homes where they have just a father or a mother, vice versa. One of the parents have to work all day, or maybe you came from a young teen parent. So you were raised by your grandmother. So you could have a lot of resentment from your mom and your father who wasn't ready to grow up yet. So you felt abandoned. A lot of all these issues affect the people that we are and who we choose to become in the future. And in a lot of black homes, a lot of things that go on in the home, they feel it necessary to keep it there. And that's why a lot of people have mental illnesses as well that are undiagnosed or not talked about. Because we never, in a society, most majority of people, they're never taught to seek counseling. They're taught to keep things in the house, keep it private. Whether it was sexually abused from an uncle, a cousin, a friend, it could be a parent, whoever. They was trained to keep that private. And you're dealing with that trauma on top of other traumas, self-esteem or anything. So it's so important that you seek counseling so you can validate yourself. You have to be the one first to give yourself that self-love. No one else can love you like you. When you know who you are and you give yourself that self-love, no one outside of a relationship will validate you. You have to be the best you. And in order to get past that, you have to tell yourself that when I was younger, I never received a hug or appreciation from my mother or father. I never was told good job. In order to break that cycle, you're going to have to try really hard when you become a parent or even in a relationship to do all the things that you wanted done for you as a child. You're going to have to tell your child, good job, hug your child, let your child know on a regular that you care and you're engaged in their activities and whatever it is they have going on. You can break the cycle if you do these things. If you continue to go on and you don't seek therapy and you just hold back all these emotions, you're going to raise a child that feel as though they didn't receive that same type of love or attention or affection. So then they're going to be trauma bonding with someone else. So then they're going to be out here searching and looking for the love that they should have received from their parent. It's always important, no matter what, to always every day wake up and tell yourself, good job. Set goals for yourself. You have to start your day fresh. Yesterday could have been bad, but the next day you have to set your mind to a positive attitude. And if you have negative family members, parents, friends, someone in your life that's not uplifting you, you're going to have to find the strength to put them aside or in the back burner. So all that negative energy that they have don't get instilled in your brain and becomes a part of you, and you feel like that's who you are. Negative energy is terrible and it can eat at you. So it is so important, as I tell you right now, to protect your energy. Your energy is something that travels from one person to the next, just like a vibe. Someone comes around and they're quiet, or they have an attitude and the energy shifts and changes in the room. You can feel that vibe from that person. And if you're a trauma-based person and you went through neglect and you've been through all these different kind of emotions as an adult, it is important that you shift your mind frame from one negative attitude aspect to something positive, something you have to look forward to. Even if it's a goal of, I'm going to wake up today and hug my son for 5 times more than what I did. Sit down and eat breakfast with him today. Eat at the dinner table and ask him how was his day. Check in with him at the end of the week, or her, and see how school was. You have to break that cycle, and as a parent, you have to change that positive mindset so your child feel like they can come to you about anything. And whatever they want and they need, they can receive that from you as a parent, and they do not have to look for that outside the household. And that's breaking generational curses and trauma bonding. That's breaking all those chains. And it's going to be tough, and it's not going to be easy. You're going to wake up and get a negative phone call from a parent or a family member or someone that you feel like is going to try to drag your energy down. But it is so important that you do not allow that to happen. If it's not an emergency and you don't feel like it's necessary, and you're getting ready for a job interview or you're getting ready for a job that you hate, don't answer the phone right now. Text them and tell them you'll call them later, until you get yourself mentally prepared for your day in a positive way. Whether that's waking up in the morning, doing a workout, something that is bettering you, that's making you feel positive about yourself, so you can have a goal and a positive outlook. If you do not do these things, if you're not receiving counseling, on top of that, your mind is going to be set one way, and you're going to attract every negative energy. Anything that's negative that you put inside your mind, you're going to attract that to you. So it is important daily, us as humans, that we train our thought pattern. We train the way we think. We train the way we feel about ourselves. You have to do that on a regular in order to have a successful life and get past trauma. Now, if you're in a relationship with someone that is also a trauma-based victim and you're not receiving counseling, which I suggest that first, it is so important that both, not only just both of you, it can be separately, because they have a different issue than you had, that you seek counseling so they can show you techniques and how to deal with certain issues in your life. Like you're with a man that you feel as though he acts like a teenager, and you have another child at home. That reason behind that could be that boy never had a father in the house. So he wasn't shown how to be a man, how to get a job, how to be head of the household, how to be a man of God. So how can he lead your family and your household if he wasn't shown how to do that? And the reality of that situation is, it's not going to change unless you take these steps. I agree that everyone can change if they want to, But when it's trauma in the background, it's something you have to fight through even harder to get past that. So you don't be a victim of those circumstances. And every day you work on something positive for you, a positive outlook for you. And you set aside that time and you do those things. And each day, whether you put a sticky note on your mirror when you wake up in the morning, say something positive about yourself, reassurance. And you have that positive attitude and you train your mind that way. So as your day go along, you will think positive. You will attract that positive energy. It is so important that you protect your energy. It is so important that you break the generational curses and break the cycle. Because not only you are hurting yourself, but you're hurting generations to come, your grandkids to come, your children, and so much more down the line. And your parents may not have taken that step, but you can take that step. And whether it's a baby step, you still should take that step. Now, if you feel as though it's a relationship to where it's weighing you down and you feel like it's no way getting out of that, I suggest you work on self first. And the more you give yourself positive energy, you say positive things, you do something positive for yourself. Leave that sticky note on that mirror and you say, I am beautiful, I am smart, I will receive this great news today, I will get that job I wanted. You know, work on hugging your kids more, work on loving yourself more, thinking positive about yourself. Do something positive for you. The more you do that, the more you will break that bondage that you feel it necessary to be with this person because you may have felt like you were lacking something from your childhood. So you have abandonment issues. So you feel as though you don't want to let go of this relationship because you don't want to be alone. Sometimes you have to realize it is okay to be alone. When you're alone, you can think clear. When you're alone, you can find out who you are and what you really want out of life. It may be the normal to you, but chaos is not of God. Chaos is not of a strong mind. You can't think clear. If it's always something going on in your relationship to where you feel like you can't trust your partner, or your partner has stepped outside and they keep doing the same thing and there's no change, I suggest you work on yourself first. The stronger you get, the stronger you know yourself, the stronger you will know your worth. And once you know your worth, you will be able to walk away from that and you will know it wasn't worth it. And sometimes we invest years into relationships and we feel like we've spent so much time, why start over? But at the end of the day, if you're not 100% happy, and yes, relationships will have ups and downs, roller coasters as well. But if you're the only one riding on that roller coaster, and this person gets a free pass to not ride on it with you, but they get to enjoy the good times with you. But when the bad times come around, they're not around. When you're at home at night crying on your pillow after an argument and they're not consoling you, whether you're a woman or a man, and it's time for you to analyze the whole situation for what it is. And do not allow yourself to keep going through these obstacles alone, because you are important and you have to tell yourself that. You have to tell yourself you are of value. And anything that happened in your past, that does not define who you are and where you are going in your future. You just have to believe and know your worth. And every relationship has its course. Sometimes things that we want and we expect, those aren't the things that are attended in our story. Everybody has a story that's already written out. They have a book, and each book has a different chapter in it. And how can you start your next chapter if you're still on chapter 2 when you're supposed to be on chapter 8? How do you know what's good out there waiting on you if you're still playing around with these unnecessary emotions? That's what I call them. When my son used to get upset and I asked him why, and he explained to me, I said, son, think about what you said. And he had a smirk on his face. And I said, now, isn't that funny, you see? And I repeated back to him exactly what he said to me. And I said, son, see, you're going through an unnecessary emotion. Why allow yourself to get upset about something that's out of your control or that's not that serious? It's not that serious, son. It'll be just fine. And we have enough obstacles, whether we're being parents, being single parents, paying bills, paying car notes. We deal with a lot of stuff. So why take on an unnecessary emotion that pulls at the heart constantly, that weighs you down when you could be free? If you're in a relationship, whether it's a marriage or a partnership, and you've been there for a long time and you feel like it's not going anywhere, they say a man knows within 5 months whether he's going to marry you or not. And I'm not going to say right away he wants to get married. But if you're in a relationship past 3 years and a man has not proposed to you yet, more than likely he's not going to. Or if a man does propose to you down the line, more than likely he feels like you will accept whatever baggage it is that he brings along in that marriage. You waited that long to accept that ring. So that means you are committed to whatever it is he decides to do. You're in relationships that aren't meaningful, that aren't going anywhere, that aren't building. Then it's time to stop, self-love yourself, know your worth, work on you, love you. And after that, evaluate that relationship. I guarantee you, once you start self-loving yourself and putting yourself first, you'll know right away whether or not that relationship is worth going on. A lot of women can say that they don't want to be married. They just want to be, I take, for example, Jim Jones and Chrissy. Chrissy allegedly said down the line she was in a rush to get married. She wanted to be married. It seems like she had a hard childhood, the way she explained her circumstances. Her and Jim kind of had similar situations. So I looked at that like it was trauma bonding. Neither one of them ever received counseling. They met up, they loved each other, and they felt like they were going to make it work. However, Chrissy wanted that fairy tale ending. But you have to think about this. You can't always get that fairy tale ending with the type of man you're loving. You have to look at the person you commit and tie yourself to. And you have to be real with yourself and stop wasting your time and your energy and your essence. When she stressed the marriage issue and she's been with him that long, and it took all those obstacles of her proposing to him, basically her humiliating herself. First, she had to talk herself into doing that, because that is the hardest thing to ever do as a female, to turn around and say, well, I'm going to do it. When deep down in your heart, the most amazing thing to imagine is the man you love bending down on his knee and proposing to you. But she couldn't wait for that. Or better yet, she knew that wasn't going to happen. So she decided to up one. So instead, she proposed to him. It didn't go the way she wanted. She leaves and he comes and he proposed to her. From the jump, it was all wrong. When she proposed to him, she let him know she's along for the ride, no matter how it goes or where it goes, as long as she's married. That's the commitment of it, just being married. Not the vow, not the love you unconditional, not the man who finds his wife. But I just want to be married to have my fairy tale. And when she did that to herself, she lowered her value in his eye as a woman. Everything he thought about her, which it wasn't what it should have been, or he would have married her right away. Or even down the line a year or two. But the little bit that he did think of her as a high woman, that value went down when she proposed to him. And then even more when he went to propose to her just to get her to come back home. Because she left. And still to this day, they are not married. And they had another show, Chrissy and Jim Jones. How humiliating could that be? How? All these years, the proposal, no wedding, people joked about it. It was on TV. And then the last interview she said is, I don't want to get married. Married is overrated, allegedly. She said she was over it, basically. So she put aside all her wants, all her feelings, all her desires, all her emotional needs as a woman. She put all that aside. Even her fairy tale ending that she wanted. Just to be with someone that's not fully committed to her. Not only that's trauma bonding, but that's terrible to do for yourself as a human being, female or male. If you have to do that in a relationship to where you put everything aside that values who you are, that makes you feel good about yourself, and you say, I don't care anymore, I'm just going to be with him. I don't need to get married. It's not a big deal. I don't want the White House or the picket fence. I don't need that. It's okay. We'll just be together. I just won't be married, I guess. Not only did that hurt her pride and her dignity, but after that, I guarantee you 110% after that, their relationship was not the same. Because she did not trust him, because he did not 110% commit to her. And not only that, but she knew that that man deep down inside knew that she was not the one for him. Do you know how that had to feel as a woman? She knew that man knew that she was not the one for him. That had to be a terrible feeling. And on top of that, they're living together now. So not only those issues are there, but it's resentment on top of hurt, on top of pain, on top of possibly cheating. All of this stuff. And now they're in a household together. So you have to ask yourself this question. Is it worth it? Is everything you feel inside of you that makes you happy moving forward in your life, becoming a better person that you value as a human being, is that worth putting aside for love or someone just to be around? Because any relationship that you're in that isn't going forward and you feel like it's a 75-25 or 95-5 or it's not balancing you out or motivating you into the right direction, it's not going to be worth it. It's going to be a headache. You're hindering yourself and you wearing yourself down with all this extra baggage when you could put that energy into yourself as a woman, as a man. You have to learn and love yourself enough to know when it's time to walk away and stop trauma bonding. Self-love is a beautiful healing thing. You wake up in the morning and you love everything about you, the good and the bad. And there's someone out there that will love that about you, but you have to love it first. So if that next person comes along and right away, you know they're not the one for you, because your spirit, your energy feeds off of positive energy. It will tell you and let you know right away, this person is not the one. They're selfish. They've been giving. I've been giving. They've been taking. And it's not equal. You have to be with someone that that's equally yoked, just like you. And most importantly, you have to have balance. You have to go to some type of church, whether you're not Christian people. Your religional beliefs have to match and add up some type of way or meet in the middle. No household has any structure if there's no type of God in there, no type of belief, no type of healing, no type of nurturance, no type of love, no type of energy that's positive. How can this man love you fully if he's not a man, a woman of God? You have to take time for yourself and figure it out. You cannot allow people or things to define your happiness or who you are. You have to break the cycles of dysfunction. And you have to learn how to love yourself no matter what, through the good or bad times. And if you're alone, you stand alone proudly for a reason. You cannot jump into a relationship until you're healed and you know your value. Each time you stay in a relationship with someone and it's not going anywhere, their value and their outlook on the way they see and view you is going to be completely different each time. It's going to get lower and lower and lower. And they're just holding on to you now until they find something better. And then unfortunately, in these type of situations, just like another example, Cassidy and Diddy. She was with him all those years. That man never proposed to her. And maybe that's all she wanted and waited on. And the second a guy came along and showed her some attention, he proposed to her right away. They got married and had a baby. And now she's happily ever after. She let go. And she moved forward. You have to find the strength and the energy inside of you to want better for yourself. When you have that, nothing can get in the way of that. You're a better parent. You're a better worker. You're a better listener. You're a better communicator. But if you don't use these tools in your life, it will continue to spiral out of control. That's why self-love is so important. And self-healing and taking time for yourself. Tonight, I hope I touched on enough of these different things that I spoke of earlier. If you have any suggestions or any questions, feel free to leave a comment. And I'll discuss that another time. I wish everyone a happy weekend and self-healing journey. And I will talk to you later. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you and have a great weekend.